If you yell at my son again, I'm calling the cops. Those words hit me like a sledgehammer to the chest. I'm Preston Donovan, and I'm standing in the hallway of the house I built with my own two hands, staring at the woman I married 3 years ago, and I can't believe what just came out of her mouth. Let me back up. 20 minutes ago, I was in my workshop reviewing blueprints for a new pipeline installation when I noticed my door was cracked open. I always close that door. Always. Something cold twisted in my gut as I walked down the hallway toward Austin's room. My 14-year-old stepson's door was locked, which was unusual for 4:30 on a Tuesday afternoon. I used the emergency key. The lock clicked open, and there he was, Rachel's son, Austin, shoving something into his backpack with movements that were too quick, too practiced. When he turned around, his face wasn't scared. It was defiant, calculating. That's what got me. Not nervousness, not guilt, just this cold assessment in his eyes that reminded me of someone I'd never met but heard too much about. His biological father, Bryce Coleman. Austin, open the bag. My voice was calm then, still in control. He didn't move, just stared at me with this smirk that made my blood pressure spike. I reached for the backpack myself, unzipped it, and there they were. 8 crisp $100 bills. $800. I recognized them immediately because I'd seen Rachel counting cash yesterday, setting it aside for Austin's camping trip with his school outdoor club. She'd been so proud, telling me she'd saved it from her bank receptionist job, wanting to contribute as a mother. "Where did you get this?" I asked, even though I already knew. "Found it?" His voice was flat, bored even. "Found it where?" "Mom's purse. She has so much money she won't even notice." He shrugged like we were discussing borrowed pencils, not stolen cash. "You give her everything anyway, so it's basically your money. So what?" That "so what" detonated something inside me that I'd kept locked down for 3 years. 3 years of being treated like an ATM with a heartbeat. 3 years of paying for everything while being reminded at every turn that Austin wasn't mine, that this wasn't really my family, that I was just the guy who showed up after the real story ended. So what? So what? My voice echoed through the house louder than I'd spoken in years. You think money just appears? I work 60-hour weeks at the refinery so you can have private school, therapy sessions twice a week, a roof over your head that doesn't leak, food that isn't ramen for the 4th night in a row. I was thinking about the overtime I'd pulled last week, welding pipe joints in 110-degree heat, my mask fogged up with sweat, just to make sure there was enough in the bank for Austin's school fees. The way my back ached from hunching over those welds for 12 hours straight, the burn marks on my forearms from spatter that got past my sleeve. Austin's smirk finally cracked. But instead of apologizing, he doubled down. "You're not my dad. You can't tell me what to do." Something in my chest collapsed. I've been more of a father to this kid than anyone in his life. I'm the one who taught him to work on engines when he was 11, showed him how to gap spark plugs and check compression. I'm the one who sits through his therapy appointments in the waiting room, hoping this week will be the breakthrough. I'm the one who checks his homework every night and takes him to baseball practice even though he barely tries. "I've been more of a father to you than..." I started, but Austin cut me off. "Then who? My real dad? You don't even know him." The front door opened downstairs. Rachel's voice floated up, cheerful and oblivious. "I'm home. Why is everyone shouting?" And that's when everything fell apart. Rachel appeared at the top of the stairs, shopping bags dangling from her wrists. More money spent, I noticed automatically. Her face immediately shifted into defensive mode. She didn't ask what happened, didn't ask why I was holding cash. She saw me standing over her crying son, because of course Austin was crying now, the manipulative little actor, and her entire body went rigid. "What did you do to him?" She dropped the bags and rushed to Austin, pulling him against her like I was a stranger who'd broken into our home. "He stole $800 from your purse, Rachel. I caught him red-handed." "So you yell at him like this? He's 14 years old. He needs understanding, not your military discipline." Military discipline, like wanting consequences for theft, was some kind of authoritarian overreach. He needs to understand that actions have consequences. And then she said it. Those words that I'll hear in my head for the rest of my life. "If you yell at my son again, I'm calling the cops." The hallway went silent. Even Austin stopped his fake crying to look up at his mother, surprised. I stared at Rachel, This woman I'd built a life around, and I didn't recognize her. "What did you just say?" My voice came out quiet, deadly quiet. Rachel, emboldened by Austin clinging to her shirt, lifted her chin. "You heard me. I won't let you abuse my child." Abuse. That word hung in the air like toxic gas. I'd raised my voice, not even yelled really, at a kid who'd stolen $800, and suddenly I was an abuser. The same word they'd probably used to describe Bryce Coleman, who actually deserved it. I placed the $800 on the hallway table, with movements so calm they felt robotic. My hands didn't shake. My voice didn't rise. That's what 3 years of swallowing my feelings looks like. When the breaking point finally comes, it doesn't explode. It freezes over. "You can leave my house." The color drained from Rachel's face. "What? This is my house. Rachel." Each word came out measured, surgical. My name on the deed, my mortgage payment that clears every month, my money that keeps the lights on, the heat running, food in the refrigerator. I looked at Austin, still clutched against his mother's side. My money that pays for his private school where he's failing algebra because he doesn't bother trying. My money for his therapy sessions where he lies to the counselor about how things are at home. "Preston, I didn't mean..." Rachel's voice cracked. "No, you meant it. You threatened to call the police on me in my own home for disciplining a child who stole from you." I felt something shift in my chest, like a foundation crumbling. Like when you're welding a joint and you hear that tiny pop that tells you the metal's about to fail under pressure. Here's what's gonna happen. You pack your things, I'll give you first month's rent and deposit for an apartment, but you're done making me feel like a stranger in my own life. Rachel's legs wavered. She reached out to steady herself against the wall. "Baby, please. I was just protecting him from what? Consequences? Reality? Me?" I heard my voice getting quieter, which was worse than yelling. My father taught me that during his own army days. He used to say, "The quieter a man gets, the more serious he is." I gave up a $300,000 expansion deal to be here for you both. Did you know that? Her eyes widened. "What?" 2 years ago, my supervisor wanted me to transfer to the new Houston refinery. Lead welder position. Union scale plus hazard pay for working the cat cracker units. The contract was on the table. I watched her face process this information like it was news from another planet. But Austin called me that day from school, said you were crying again about Bryce, asked me to come home. So I walked away from the deal. It had been a Tuesday, just like today. I remember because we were doing pressure tests on the main feed line, and I was suited up in my silver proximity gear when my phone buzzed. Austin's voice, shaky and young. "Preston, can you come home? Mom's having one of her bad days." I'd told my crew chief I had a family emergency, stripped off my gear, and driven 90 minutes through Houston traffic to get home. I came home, held you, never mentioned it again, and 3 months later when I casually brought it up, you said, "Oh, probably for the best. You work too much already." Rachel's mouth opened, but no sound came out. "You want to know what broke me? Not today. Not Austin stealing. Not even you threatening me with police." I felt 6 years of grief mixing with 3 years of being taken for granted. "It was 6 months ago when I asked if you wanted to have a baby with me. Remember what you said?" She was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. "Preston, you said, if you need a baby, maybe you married the wrong person." The memory tasted like poison, metallic, like when you breathe in too much welding smoke. "I buried my first wife, Grace, and our unborn child 6 years ago, Rachel. I thought I'd never want a family again. Then I met you at that diner on Highway 6, and I thought maybe I could have that dream back. But you made it clear I'm just the wallet, the safety net, not the partner." Austin had gone completely still against his mother. His earlier defiance evaporated. Maybe he was finally understanding that actions have consequences, that when you push a man too far, sometimes he pushes back. I turned and walked toward our bedroom, my bedroom. "I'm packing your things. You have until morning to figure out where you're going." "Preston, please!" Rachel's voice rose to something close to hysteria. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." I stopped in the doorway but didn't turn around. "Are you sorry you said it, or sorry I finally responded?" Silence. That's what I thought. I walked into the bedroom and went straight to the closet. Rachel's suitcase was on the top shelf, the expensive Samsonite I'd bought her for our honeymoon to Gulf Shores. I pulled it down, laid it on the bed, and started folding her clothes with mechanical precision. Each shirt, each pair of jeans, each dress. I folded them carefully because even in my anger, I couldn't be cruel. My father raised me better than that. The blue sweater she wore on our first date went in first. I remembered how nervous she'd been, stirring sugar into her coffee with shaking hands, telling me about Austin and how hard it was being a single mom, how she'd worked double shifts at the bank just to make rent, how she was afraid I'd run when I found out about her baggage. I should have run, would have saved us all a lot of pain. Rachel appeared in the doorway, her whole body shaking. "Preston, please. I was wrong. I was so wrong." I kept folding, a pair of jeans, the black dress she wore to my company Christmas party. "You're right about everything," she continued, her voice breaking on every other word. "I took you for granted. I made you feel like an outsider. I shouldn't have said that about the baby. I was scared, but that's no excuse." I finally stopped and looked at her. Really looked at her. 3 years ago, I'd seen a woman who'd survived something terrible, raising a son alone, and I'd thought I could be her hero, like some kind of white knight riding in on a Ford F-250 to save the day. Turns out you can't save people who don't want to be saved. You can only exhaust yourself trying. "Do you know what the worst part is?" I asked quietly. "What?" Her voice was barely a whisper. I already knew this wouldn't work. I went back to folding. 6 months ago, when you said that about marrying the wrong person, I knew. But I stayed because I'm not a quitter, because I loved you, because I thought if I just tried harder, sacrificed more, loved you better, eventually you'd let me in. Rachel's knees buckled and she dropped to the floor, hands pressed against the carpet like she was praying. "No, no, please, Preston. I love you. I do love you." "Do you?" I turned to face her fully. "Because love isn't just words, Rachel. It's trust. It's partnership. It's letting someone be a father to your child instead of constantly reminding him he's not. It's wanting to build a future together instead of just surviving the present." Rachel sobbed on the bedroom floor while I continued packing her things. My phone buzzed on the nightstand, a Facebook notification. I glanced at it and felt my jaw tighten. "Your ex-husband Bryce just posted on Facebook." I kept my voice flat. "Looks like he's getting remarried in Vegas." I showed her the screen, Bryce grinning with some blonde woman, both of them holding champagne flutes. Caption reading, "Third time's the charm." Rachel looked up, mascara streaking her face like war paint. "I don't care about Bryce." "Don't you?" I set the phone down. "Because every time I've tried to get closer to Austin, you've pulled him back. Every time I suggested adoption, you changed the subject. I thought maybe you were keeping the door open, hoping Bryce would come back and play daddy again." "No, Preston!" She struggled to her feet, using the dresser for support. "Bryce told me if I tried to erase him, he'd come back and make our lives hell. That's why I never signed the adoption papers. I was protecting us from a man who calls drunk at 2 a.m, demanding to talk to his boy, then disappears for 6 months." I shook my head. "Or were you protecting yourself from actually committing to this family?" Before she could answer, I heard footsteps in the hallway. Light ones, trying to be quiet. Austin appeared in the doorway, his face pale and younger looking than his 14 years. The defiant teenager was gone, replaced by a scared kid who just watched his world implode. "I wanted you to kick us out," he said quietly. I froze mid-fold. "What?" "I took the money so you'd yell at me, so Mom would defend me, so you'd get tired of us and leave." His voice was robotic, rehearsed, like he'd practiced this speech in front of his bedroom mirror. "My real dad left because I was too much trouble. I wanted to see if you would too." The room went silent except for Rachel's ragged breathing. I looked at this kid, really looked at him, and saw something I'd missed. He wasn't defiant, he wasn't evil, he was terrified, testing me the way abused dogs test new owners, waiting for the hit that always comes. "Austin, your father left because he was broken," I said carefully, setting down the shirt I'd been folding. "Not because of you. But everyone leaves eventually." His eyes were glassy, unfocused. "So, I make them leave faster. It hurts less that way." My chest constricted. I'd been so focused on being angry at Rachel that I hadn't seen what Austin was doing, recreating his trauma over and over, controlling the abandonment before it controlled him. Like a controlled burn to prevent a wildfire. "Does your mom know you do this?" I asked. He shook his head. "She thinks I'm just bad, but I'm testing everyone. You're the first person who—" He trailed off, looking at his feet. "Who what?" "Who didn't leave after the first test?" He looked at me with something close to hope. "I stole from my third-grade teacher's desk. She had me move to another class and never talked to me again. I broke my neighbor's window on purpose. They banned me from their yard and called Mom to complain. But I've been testing you for 3 years, and you kept showing up." Rachel made a sound like a wounded animal. "Baby, I didn't know." "I thought enabling him was protecting him," I said, more to myself than to them. "But I was just teaching him that bad behavior has no consequences, and teaching me that I don't matter." I sat down on the bed, suddenly exhausted. The suitcase half-packed, my marriage in ruins, a traumatized kid who just confessed to psychological warfare, and a wife who'd threatened me with police rather than face the truth about her son. "Here's what I know," I said finally. "This family is broken, has been from the start. The question is whether we're going to fix it or end it." Rachel wiped her face with the back of her hand. "How do we fix this?" I looked at both of them, a broken woman and a traumatized boy who'd been playing chess while I thought we were playing checkers. "I don't know if we can." While Rachel tried to compose herself and Austin retreated to his room, I went to my workshop. The familiar smell of cutting oil and metal shavings usually calmed me, but tonight it felt like a museum of a life I used to know. The house felt different now, like a stage set where we'd all been playing roles. Loving husband, grateful wife, happy family, all of it a carefully constructed lie. I unlocked the bottom drawer of my toolbox, pushing aside my micrometer and angle gauge. Inside was a folder my accountant had given me 2 years ago. "Just document everything," he'd said. "Since they're not legally your dependents, you'll need records for tax purposes." I'd felt guilty keeping it, like I was planning an escape route. Turns out my subconscious knew something my heart wouldn't admit. I opened the folder. The numbers stared back at me in neat columns, written in my own careful handwriting. $28,000 in private school tuition over 3 years. $15,000 in therapy and psychological counseling for Austin. $18,000 for Rachel's Ford F-150 lease and insurance, the truck she'd wanted because her friend drove one. $10,000 in shopping, clothes, and personal expenses. $8,000 in family vacations to places they chose, never asking what I wanted to do. $3,000 in legal consultations for the adoption that never happened. Total, $85,000. I'd never mentioned these numbers, never held them over Rachel's head during arguments. But now, looking at them, I felt something crack inside my chest. I wasn't a husband. I was a checkbook with a heartbeat, a human ATM dispensing cash on demand. My laptop was still open from earlier, a half-finished email to my crew chief about tomorrow's pressure test. I pulled up a blank email to my lawyer instead. Need to discuss separation terms and financial obligations. Wife threatened to call police on me in my own home. Need to protect myself legally. My finger hovered over the send button. 6 years ago, I'd buried my first wife, Grace, and our unborn daughter after a drunk driver ran a red light on Highway 290. I'd stood in that cemetery in the rain, convinced I'd never feel anything again. Then Rachel had shown up at the diner where I ate breakfast every morning before my shift. This kind bank receptionist who remembered how I took my coffee and asked about my weekend plans like she actually cared. I thought maybe life was giving me a second chance. But second chances aren't guarantees. Sometimes they're just different ways to learn the same lesson. Before I could hit send, Rachel's voice cut through the house. "Preston, please come here. Something's wrong with Austin." I closed the laptop and ran. Austin was sitting on his bed, hyperventilating. His chest heaved in rapid, shallow bursts like a pneumatic drill running out of air pressure. His hands clutched his shirt, knuckles white. Rachel stood beside him, panicking. "He can't breathe. We need to call 911. I'd seen this before. Grace used to have panic attacks during her pregnancy, terrified something would go wrong, which it did eventually, but not the way she'd feared. I sat down calmly next to Austin, the mattress sagging under my weight. "Look at me," I said quietly. "Count with me. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. Austin's wild eyes found mine. I breathed slowly, exaggerating each inhale and exhale like I was teaching him to time a weld pass. He tried to match me, failed, tried again. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Gradually, his breathing slowed. The color returned to his face. Rachel watched, helpless, as I did what she couldn't. Remain calm in crisis. It's what you learn working with high-pressure systems. When things go wrong, panic kills people. Steady hands save lives. When Austin could finally speak, tears streamed down his face. I don't want you to leave. I don't want Mom to be sad again. I ruined everything. Rachel collapsed into the desk chair, her face in her hands. This is my fault. All of it. I never dealt with Bryce leaving. I never got Austin real help. I just wanted to survive, and you gave us that, and I took it for granted. I looked at them both, a broken woman and a traumatized boy who'd been fighting invisible demons while I thought we were just dealing with teenage attitude. Part of me wanted to comfort them, pull them close, promise everything would be okay. But compassion without boundaries is just self-destruction. My father taught me that too, back when he was teaching me to weld. Son, he'd say, you can't fix a crack by ignoring it. You cut out the bad metal and start fresh, or the whole structure fails. Rachel, answer me honestly. I kept my voice level. If I hadn't caught Austin today, would anything have changed? She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. No words came out. That's what I thought. I stood up. I'm sleeping in the guest room tonight. Tomorrow we talk about what happens next. Preston, please. I need space to think. You both need to sit with what happened today. I walked to the door, then paused. Austin, that panic attack was real, but it doesn't erase what you did. We'll deal with both truths. I left them there and walked down the hallway to the guest room, closing the door behind me. The room smelled like dust and loneliness, like metal that's been sitting too long without proper maintenance. I lay down on the bed, still in my work clothes, and stared at the ceiling. My phone was in my pocket. I pulled it out and scrolled through photos. Rachel laughing at our wedding in the little chapel in Galveston. Austin's first real smile when I taught him to work on engines, grease under his fingernails, pride in his eyes. The three of us at the county fair last summer. Austin wearing a cowboy hat, looking almost happy for once. I wasn't crying, but my eyes burned like I'd been welding without proper ventilation. I was grieving. Not just this marriage, but the future I'd imagined. Kids of our own, Austin calling me Dad instead of Preston. Growing old with Rachel on the porch we'd build together, watching grandkids play in the yard. All of it gone, evaporated like flux smoke. At 2:47 in the morning, I was still awake when Rachel's voice came through the wall. She was on the phone with someone, probably her sister in Dallas. I don't know what to do, Janet. I think I lost him. I think I really lost him this time. Her voice was muffled, but I could hear the desperation. He's been so good to us, better than Bryce ever was. And I threatened to call the cops on him, in his own house. How do I come back from that? Maybe she couldn't. Maybe some things, once broken, can't be fixed. But as I lay there in the dark, listening to her cry, I realized something. Whether we survived this or not, I'd finally found my voice. I'd finally drawn the line in the sand and said, this far, no further. And that was worth something. I must have dozed off eventually because the next thing I knew, sunlight was streaming through the guest room window and I could smell coffee brewing downstairs. My back ached from sleeping in my clothes and my mouth tasted like I'd been chewing on rusty pipe fittings. I checked my phone. 7:15 in the morning. I made my way downstairs, following the smell of coffee and something else. Bacon, maybe? Rachel was standing at the stove, still in yesterday's clothes, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. Austin sat at the kitchen table, staring at his hands. Morning, Rachel said, without turning around. Her voice was hoarse from crying. I poured myself coffee from the pot, noting that she'd made it the way I liked, strong enough to strip paint. Morning. I made breakfast. She gestured toward the stove. Thought maybe we could talk. I sat down across from Austin, noting how small he looked at our kitchen table. 14 years old, but somehow younger, like the events of yesterday had stripped away years of false bravado. We need to talk, I said, settling into my chair. All of us. Rachel turned off the burner and joined us, setting a plate of scrambled eggs and bacon in the center of the table. Nobody touched the food. Austin, I said, looking directly at him, you're going to pay back every cent of that $800. His head snapped up. How? You'll work for it. Starting this Saturday, you'll help me and my crew with site cleanup at the refinery. $12 an hour, same as our other part-timers. You'll learn what it takes to earn money instead of just taking it. I did the math in my head. That's about 67 hours of work. Should take you most of the summer. Austin's eyes widened. He'd probably never worked a real job in his life, never felt the ache in your back after a 10-hour shift, or the satisfaction of earning something with your own hands. And you'll apologize to your mother, I continued. Not to me, to her. For stealing her money and her peace of mind. For making her choose between her son and her husband. Austin's voice shook when he spoke. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm really, really sorry. Rachel reached across the table and took his hand. I forgive you, baby. But Stanley's right. You have to make this right. I turned to Rachel. And you. You'll start individual therapy next week. I've already made the appointment with Dr. Martinez. Non-negotiable. She nodded quickly. Okay, yes, whatever you want. And we'll do family therapy. The three of us, also non-negotiable. I paused, making sure they both heard this clearly. This isn't punishment, Rachel. This is us figuring out how to be a real family instead of three people living in the same house. Rachel's eyes filled with cautious hope. Does that mean... I raised my hand. It means I'm giving this one more chance. Not because you apologized, not because you begged, but because I looked at my life last night and realized something. I stood up and walked to the counter where I'd left an envelope. My hands were steady as I slid it across the table to Rachel. She opened it with trembling fingers. Inside were the adoption papers for Austin, the ones I'd printed 18 months ago, the ones that had sat in my drawer like a monument to our inability to fully commit. You said you weren't ready before, I said, my voice calm but firm. I need an answer by Friday. If you trust me to be his father, we do this legally. We make this real. If not, then we need to admit this isn't a real family and figure out what it is instead. Rachel stared at the papers like they were a test she didn't know how to pass. Austin looked between us, something new flickering in his eyes. It took me a moment to recognize it. Hope, maybe. Or respect. I want him to adopt me, Austin said quietly. Rachel's head turned toward her son. Baby, I want him to be my dad. My real dad. Austin's voice got stronger. Bryce never wanted me. But Preston, you showed up. You kept showing up even when I was awful to you. I felt something shift in my chest. Not the foundation crumbling this time. Something settling into place. Like when you finally get a joint aligned perfectly and it clicks. There's more, I said. Austin, you're going to get a job this summer. Real responsibility, real consequences. And Rachel, we're going to talk about having a baby, if that's something you want. Rachel's face crumpled. I do want that. I was just scared. Scared you'd love a new baby more than Austin. Scared I wasn't good enough to be the mother of your children. Fear's not the enemy, I said. But letting fear make your decisions for you is. I walked to the kitchen window and looked out at the backyard. The workshop I'd built. The garden Rachel had started but never finished. The basketball hoop Austin used maybe twice a year. All of it waiting for us to decide what kind of family we were going to be. Here's the deal, I said, turning back to them. We start fresh. New rules, new expectations, new respect. I'm not your ATM anymore, Rachel. I'm your partner. And Austin, I'm not your backup dad. If we do this adoption, I'm your dad. Period. That means I get to discipline you when you screw up, and it means you get to count on me to be here. Even when I test you, Austin asked. Especially when you test me. I sat back down. But the testing stops now. You want to know if I'm staying? I'm staying. You want to know if I love you? I do. But love without respect isn't love. It's just enabling. Rachel wiped her eyes. What if we mess this up again? Then we'll deal with it. But we deal with it as a family, not as strangers sharing a house. The adoption papers lay on the table between us, like a bridge we could either cross or burn. I looked at Austin, this kid who'd been testing me for 3 years, waiting for me to fail him, like every other adult in his life. What do you say, son? Austin's face lit up at that word. Son. Not stepson. Not Rachel's boy. Son. I say let's do this, Dad. 3 months later, I was standing in a courthouse in downtown Houston, wearing the same suit I'd worn to marry Rachel. Austin stood beside me in a borrowed tie, nervous but determined. Rachel held my hand as the judge made it official. By the power vested in me by the state of Texas, I hereby grant this petition for adoption. Austin Coleman Donovan, you are now legally the son of Preston Donovan. Austin, my son, grinned and threw his arms around me. Thanks, Dad. I hugged him back, feeling the weight of responsibility and privilege that comes with being someone's father. Not their stepfather, not their provider, their dad. Later that evening, as we sat on our back porch watching the sun set over Houston, Rachel rested her hand on her still flat belly. 5 more months, she said. 5 more months, I agreed. Austin was inside, probably texting his friends about his new last name. Our daughter would grow up knowing her big brother, knowing her father, knowing what it means to be part of a family that fights for each other instead of against each other. It wasn't the family I'd planned, but it was the family we'd built together, one honest conversation at a time, and that was enough.